Lawrence leaned back in his chair like firing me was some kind of favor and said, "This shows you're not committed to our team." My name's Jared Monroe, and I'd spent the last 4 years pulling in millions for Driefield Robotics, yet my bank balance barely moved. I'm 29, still hunting through clearance racks for clothes, still driving the same decade-old Honda my parents helped me buy back in college. Sitting there, I stared at Lawrence Bennett, our VP of sales, looking sharp in his custom suit and sporting that kind of tan you don't get in Raleigh, North Carolina in March, the kind you get from winter business trips to Miami. He watched me, expecting me to beg, argue, or throw a fit. "I understand," I said calmly. His eyebrows twitched. That wasn't the reaction he'd hoped for. "You're terminated effective immediately. Pack up your things. April will escort you to HR for your exit paperwork." I nodded, stood up, and reached across his heavy oak desk to shake his hand. He paused before taking it. "Thank you for the opportunity," I said. The walk back to my desk was silent, everyone pretending to be busy, sneakily glancing at me. In an open office, news spreads quickly. I could feel their eyes on me as I grabbed a cardboard box from the supply closet. I didn't have much to pack. Just a coffee mug my sister gave me, a few pens that still worked, and a small cactus I somehow kept alive under fluorescent lights for 3 years. 4 years at this company, and all I owned fit into a box smaller than a microwave. April hovered close, jingling her keys, watching me like I might walk off with the stapler or torch my desk on the way out. I'd brought in over $2 million in new business last quarter alone. $2 million. And they thought I'd steal a stapler. As I headed for the elevator, Tyler stepped out of his office. Tyler Davis, my direct supervisor, the guy who claimed credit for half my deals, the man who assured me 3 times that my raise was in the works, just waiting on Lawrence's okay. He avoided eye contact. "Make sure you turn in your badge at security," he muttered before disappearing back inside, badge in hand. I stepped into the elevator. As the doors slid shut, I caught my reflection in the polished metal. I didn't look fired or angry. I looked lighter, like I'd finally dropped something heavy, though I hadn't realized it yet. I started at Driefield straight out of college with a business degree from state school, a decent GPA, nothing remarkable except that I knew how to really talk to people, figure out what they needed, and deliver it. My dad always said, "A good salesman sells products. A great salesman solves problems." He'd spent 30 years in the pharmaceutical trenches, missed plenty of baseball games, but made sure money was never an issue for us. When I landed the job at Driefield, he was proud and said it was a solid company with room to grow. For 2 years, I believed it. I worked 60-hour weeks, learned everything about industrial automation, built relationships with manufacturing clients across the Southeast, won Rookie of the Year, then top performer the next year. I thought I was building a career. Then I saw Tyler promoted over me, even though my numbers doubled his. "He has more management experience," they said. Then he got credit for the Westbrook deal, a client I'd spent 6 months cultivating. Then he got a company car. Small things at first. Meeting invites mysteriously missing my inbox, client info arriving late, comments like, "Are you sure that's the right approach for this client?" Little stabs every day. I kept my head down, worked hard, kept delivering, until last month when I closed the Abbott manufacturing deal. $2 million, the biggest contract of the year. I flew to Chicago 3 times on my own dime because the company wouldn't approve the expense, worked weekends, missed my cousin's wedding, made it happen. When the contract came through, Lawrence took the team out for drinks. Everyone but me. I found out from Instagram posts the next day when I finally mustered the nerve to ask for a raise. 3rd time's the charm. Lawrence told me it wasn't the right time, that the company was restructuring compensation. That night, I updated my resume for the first time in 4 years. A week later, Vanessa Mills, a former Driefield client who'd moved to Revelin Publishing, reached out on LinkedIn. "We should catch up," she wrote. We met for coffee. She mentioned they needed someone to lead their new business development team, someone with technical sales experience. Someone like me. I took one vacation day, a day I'd earned, to go to an interview. Someone saw me in the lobby of the Rallin building and told Tyler. That was yesterday. I sat in my car in the Driefield parking lot for nearly an hour after security took my badge, just sitting, air conditioning on, staring at the building where I'd spent 4 years of my life, 4 years of early mornings and late nights, of promises like, "We'll take care of you. You're part of the family," and "Just hang in there." My phone buzzed a text from Tyler. "Sorry about how things went down. Just following protocol." I switched off my phone without replying and drove home. My apartment felt different when I walked in. Emptier, somehow, though nothing had changed. I dropped my box on the kitchen counter and opened a beer. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. Nothing at all. No emails, no calls, no proposals to review. I just sat on my couch, drinking, watching the afternoon light shift across the living room wall around 7 p.m. I turned my phone back on 3 missed calls from my parents, a text from my sister asking if I was okay. Apparently, Tyler had called her looking for me, a boundary I didn't even know existed, and an email from Vanessa at Roland. "Can you come in tomorrow at 10 a.m.? The team would like to meet you." I replied with one word: "Yes." Then I called my parents. "They did you a favor," my dad said after I explained what happened. Not what I expected to hear. "How's that?" I asked. "They showed you who they really are, son. No more illusions. No more maybe now you know." He was right. All those times I gave them the benefit of the doubt, blamed myself for not working hard enough, not being visible enough, not playing the game well enough. All those times I swallowed my pride and kept going because I thought loyalty mattered. It didn't. Not to them. I was fired for taking one day off, a day I earned, to look for what they'd never give me: fair pay, respect, a future. My mom got on the phone. "What do you need, honey? Want us to come down this weekend?" "No," I said, suddenly clear. "I'm actually okay. I honestly think this might be the best thing that ever happened to me." And I really meant it. For the first time in ages, I felt something beyond exhaustion and that low-level anxiety that had been my constant shadow. I felt truly free. That night, I slept deeper than I had in months. The next morning, I put on my sharpest suit, the one I'd saved for big client meetings that Lawrence somehow always attended. Instead of me, I looked polished, rested, and ready. The interview at Rallin went even better than I'd hoped. They'd already vetted my references and spoken with 3 of my former clients, including Abbott Manufacturing. They knew exactly what I brought to the table. They offered me the job on the spot: Regional Director of Business Development, with double my old Driefield salary plus commission. I accepted right away. "When can you start?" Vanessa asked. I smiled and said, "Immediately." I signed the contract on Friday afternoon and began the following Monday. They gave me an office with a door and a window, a company credit card, a team of 3 sales associates, and most importantly, something Driefield never provided: a clear path forward. "We want you to grow this division," Vanessa explained. "Build it from scratch. Your reputation with clients is why we hired you." The first 2 weeks were perfect. I learned the systems, met the team, and started crafting a strategy. I even sent LinkedIn requests to my former Driefield colleagues. Most accepted, some congratulated me, but Tyler and Lawrence ignored me. I didn't care. I was too busy feeling like I'd finally found where I belonged. Then the cease and desist letter arrived. "Mr. Monroe is violating his non-compete agreement," it declared. "You are ordered to terminate your employment with Rallin Publishing immediately or face legal action." I was certain I'd never signed a non-compete, so I panicked and called Rellin's legal department. "Don't worry," the attorney assured me. "Send over all your Driefield onboarding paperwork. We'll handle it." That night, I sifted through my files and found my original offer letter, employment agreement, and most recent performance review. Nothing about any non-compete or restrictions on future employment. The next day, Drefield's lawyers sent over a document with my signature on it. A non-compete agreement dated 3 years earlier, right after I won Rookie of the Year. It restricted me from working for competitors within 100 miles for 1 year after leaving Dreffield, but I never signed it. The signature looked like mine, but I had no memory of seeing it. "Did you sign anything during a performance review?" the Relin attorney asked. I thought back. 3 years ago, my first review after the award, Lawrence handed me a stack of papers, saying it was routine paperwork to sign at the flags. I trusted him. "They claim Relin is a direct competitor," the attorney continued, "which is a stretch since you sell publishing equipment and they sell industrial automation, but they're pressing hard. This could get costly." "Will I lose my job?" I asked, anxiety knotting in my stomach again. "Not if I can help it, but be ready they might try to drag your reputation through the mud." It felt personal. And it was the next day I got an email from one of my biggest former Dreffield clients. "Just had a weird call from your old boss," it said. "He suggested you took proprietary client info when you left and asked if you'd contacted me." I replied, "You always acted with integrity. What's going on?" I forwarded the email to our legal team, hands shaking with anger. They weren't just trying to block me from working. They were trying to destroy my reputation, the very thing that made me valuable despite their efforts to diminish me. That evening, my phone rang. It was Jessica from Dreffield's accounting department, her voice quiet and nervous. "I'm not supposed to call you," she said, "but you were always decent to me. You need to know something. They're accusing you of stealing client files, but it's not true. I saw Lawrence in the server room the day after you left. He was downloading your entire client folder, then deleted the originals and claimed you took them. Would you be willing to tell my attorney?" "I can't," she admitted. "I need this job, but I wanted you to know what you're up against." She hung up before I could thank her. I sat in my new office, staring out at the Raleigh skyline, realizing this wouldn't be as simple as walking away. They weren't going to let me succeed. They'd try to drag me down. And for the first time since I'd been fired, I was truly angry. The legal battle dragged on for weeks. Relin stood behind me, but the stress was crushing every day. Dreffield threw new accusations: client theft, corporate espionage, breach of contract. They were throwing everything at the wall to see what stuck. "We need leverage," my attorney said. "Right now, it's your word against theirs on the non-compete, even if we think it's forged. Proving that will be expensive." I nodded, thinking about what Jessica had told me about Lawrence in the server room, about their pattern of lying and fabricating evidence. "What about my commission payments?" I asked, suddenly. "Last quarter, I closed the Abbott deal, $2 million. My commission should have been substantial, but my final paycheck was normal. No bonus, no commission." The attorney made a note. "Good. That's something concrete we can pursue." That evening, Tyler texted me. "We should talk, not about the legal stuff, it's important." Against my better judgment, I met him halfway between our offices at a coffee shop. He looked awful. Dark circles under his eyes, rumpled shirt, none of his usual polish. "I can't be tied to this conversation," he said the moment we sat. "I could lose everything." I waited. "The non-compete. It's not just you. Lawrence has been doing this for years, getting people to sign routine paperwork during reviews, then adding pages later. The signatures are real, but the documents aren't what people actually signed." "Why tell me this?" I asked. He looked down. "You're not the first, but you're the first to fight back. They're scared." "Why scared of me?" I asked. "I just want to do my job." Tyler leaned in. "It's not about you. It's about the money. The commission structure at Dreffield isn't what anyone thinks the percentages in our contracts. They're not real. Lawrence had been skimming off every major deal for years. That's why they were going after me so aggressively. They feared I'd uncover the truth. My mind raced through all those deals, the money, the commissions that never matched what I'd calculated, the bonuses that were always less than promised thanks to vague adjustments and overhead charges no one explained. "How do you know all this?" I asked Tyler's side. "I stumbled on the real books by accident. I was looking for a client file on Lawrence's computer while he was in a meeting. His spreadsheets were open. 2 sets of commission calculations. The real numbers and the ones actually paid out, the difference went into something called the Executive Performance Fund." "You didn't say anything?" I pressed. His face reddened. I confronted him. He offered me a cut, said it was standard for the senior team, said I'd earned my spot at the table. "So you took it?" He didn't deny it. "I've got a mortgage and kids in private school. I told myself it was just business as usual." "Why tell me this now?" I demanded. "Because they're not just coming after you. They're setting you up. Lawrence told the board you manipulated the Abbott contract numbers, that you inflated the deal to get a bigger commission. That's why they claim you stole files, to cover up the fraud they're accusing you of." I felt cold all over. That was completely false. Abbott could verify the contract value, but they'd already started building a paper trail, backdated emails, revised contracts. "They're thorough, Jared, and they have resources." I studied Tyler's face, searching for lies. "Why should I believe you? You've never been on my side before." He pulled out his phone and showed me screenshots, commission spreadsheets, emails, bank transfers, all proof. "Send those to me," I said. "If I do, I'm finished at Driefield, probably in this whole industry." "You already are," he said. "The question is whether you go down with them or help expose this." Tyler stared at me for a long moment before forwarding the emails. The evidence he provided changed everything. Not just for me, but potentially dozens of current and former Driefield employees cheated out of commissions. This had been going on for years, costing millions. "This is way bigger than a non-compete issue," my attorney said when I showed her Tyler's files. "It's systematic fraud. But there's a problem. Tyler won't go on record. Screenshots and forwarded emails are hearsay without his testimony. And Driefield has deep pockets. They can drag this out for years. We need more. A witness with direct knowledge willing to testify." I thought of Jessica from accounting, but she was too scared to risk her job. I needed someone with nothing to lose. Better yet, someone who'd already lost. That night, I made a list of everyone who'd left Driefield in the past 2 years, especially those who quit suddenly or were fired under suspicious circumstances, who might have started asking about their commissions. One name stood out: Kevin Blackwell, former top performer in the Eastern region, who abruptly resigned last year amid rumors of drinking problems. I never believed those rumors. Kevin was a family man, a church deacon, one of the most upright people I knew. I found him on LinkedIn. He was working at a small company, earning far less than he would have at Driefield. I messaged him. "Need to talk about Lawrence Bennett and commissions at Driefield. It's important." He replied within minutes. "I've been waiting for this call." We met the next day. Kevin didn't look like a man with drinking problems. He looked weighed down by a heavy burden. "They fired me because I found the spreadsheets," he said bluntly. "The same ones Tyler showed you. But I went further. I documented everything, tracked the money. It wasn't just commissions. It was expense account fraud, vendor kickbacks, inflated project costs. Lawrence and the CFO had a whole system." "Do you have proof?" I asked. Kevin nodded. "Everything. Bank records, emails, the works. I was building a case for the board when Lawrence caught wind. Next thing I know, rumors about my drinking started. Then a client said I showed up drunk to a meeting I never even attended. 2 weeks later, I was out." "Why didn't you fight back? Go to the authorities?" "They threatened my family," Kevin said steadily, though his hands trembled. "Not directly, but they made it clear my wife's nursing job at Memorial Hospital could be at risk if I caused trouble. My kids might not be welcome back at school. They have connections. I felt sick. But you kept the evidence? Every bit. On an encrypted drive off-site, I was waiting for someone else to notice. Someone they couldn't threaten like me. Someone like you. I nodded. You don't have a family they can target. You've already been fired. And most importantly, Rallin is backing you. They have resources too. We spent 3 hours going over Kevin's evidence. It was damning. Not just for Lawrence and Tyler, but half the Driefield executive team. They'd been systematically cheating their sales force out of millions over at least 5 years. We need to bring this to the authorities, I said. This is criminal. I'm ready, Kevin replied. But we have to be smart. These people won't go down without a fight. That night, I called Vanessa and explained everything. This could get messy, I warned. Her response surprised me. Distance ourselves? Jared, we hired you because of your integrity. We're not just supporting you. We're going to help you end this. Driefield has operated unethically for years, hurting the whole industry. It's time someone stood up to them. For the first time since this all started, I felt like I might actually win. The case exploded faster than expected. With Kevin's evidence and Rallin's legal team, we didn't just file a countersuit. We took everything to the SEC and the state attorney general. The investigation moved fast. Bank records were subpoenaed. Witnesses deposed. Former employees came forward with their own stories of fraud and manipulation. 3 weeks after we filed, federal agents raided Driefield's headquarters. I wasn't there to see it, but Tyler called me that night. They took everything, he said hollowly. Computers, servers, files. Lawrence was publicly escorted out, joined by the CFO, while I remained silent. I've been suspended pending an investigation, Lawrence confessed. They're saying I could face criminal charges. I responded, chances are you will, but cooperating might help your case. A week later, Driefield withdrew their lawsuit against me. 2 days after that, their stock plummeted as news of the fraud probe hit the business media. Former employees began filing a class action lawsuit over unpaid commissions. Clients quickly distanced themselves, unwilling to be caught up in the scandal. Throughout it all, I stayed focused, quietly building my division at Rallin. I avoided interviews and social media boasting. I simply kept working. Then one morning, I received an email from Lawrence's personal address. We need to talk. I can explain everything. Lunch? Without replying, I forwarded it straight to my attorney. The very next day, the Business Journal ran a headline: Driefield Robotics CEO and executive team resign amid fraud allegations. Lawrence's photo appeared beside a statement from the board chairman. We're fully cooperating with authorities and committed to resolving this. I closed the browser and returned to my work exactly 3 months after my firing. The court ruled Driefield must pay me $147,000 in back commissions, plus damages. The courier delivered the check the following week. I didn't rush to cash it. Instead, I placed it on my desk and stared at it, not for validation, but to remind myself of the price paid for truth. 1 year later, I stood before the Rallin sales team sharing quarterly results. We doubled our division's revenue, entered 2 new markets, and earned a reputation for honesty and clear commission practices that attracted top talent, including 3 former Driefield employees from the class action settlement. The Driefield scandal had faded from headlines. Lawrence and the CFO had accepted plea bargains. Tyler avoided prison by cooperating with prosecutors, though his sales career was over. The company itself was acquired by a competitor for a fraction of its prior value. They rarely crossed my mind anymore. After the meeting, Vanessa pulled me aside. The board approved your promotion to vice president starting next month. I thanked her sincerely, but wasn't surprised we'd built something genuine here, something that worked. That evening, I drove to my parents' new home in Raleigh. They'd moved 6 months prior, partly to be closer to me and partly because Dad was ready to retire. He'd followed the Driefield saga closely, often more invested in my vindication than I was. "I'm proud of you, son," he said as we sat on the back porch after dinner. "Not because you won, but because you did it right. You didn't let them turn you bitter or change your character." I nodded, watching the sunset filtering through the trees. "It was never about revenge," I said. "I know," he replied gently. "It was about standing for the truth." We sat in peaceful silence for a moment. Then he smiled. "So, Vice President, huh? Does that mean you're finally buying a new car?" I chuckled. "Maybe, but I think I'll keep the Honda a while longer." "Why's that?" "It reminds me of something important." "What's that?" "That the fastest way up isn't by cutting corners, it's by building something that lasts." My father raised his glass. "I'll drink to that." And so did I.